Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington, Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. You know how much I love bringing you the latest and most detailed updates about the Washington Commanders, especially as we gear up for the 2024 NFL season. But today, I have some news that could have ripple effects not just for the Commanders, but across the entire NFC East. And it's all about the recent moves in the NFL, specifically around defensive depth and what that might mean for teams like ours. So, buckle up, because this is a story that's unfolding fast, and it might be more impactful than we initially thought. Let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, you might be asking, what does Atlanta have to do with Washington? Well, a lot, actually. The Falcons, as we know, are in a bit of a rebuild mode on their defense, especially in the secondary. Recently, they made a pretty significant move, cutting veteran cornerback Kevin King before the start of the NFL preseason. And honestly, this move didn't come as a shock to many analysts or fans following the NFL closely. The Falcons, after all, already have a pretty solid core of cornerbacks, with A.J. Terrell leading the way, along with Mike Hughes providing veteran depth. So when you look at that roster, it's clear that Kevin King, while experienced, was essentially the odd man out. That's the interesting part, really. The Falcons are clearly prioritizing younger talent and depth behind their starters, rather than hanging onto a player who, let's face it, has had some injury issues and inconsistency in recent years. Kevin King, a former second-round pick from the 2017 NFL Draft, who originally played with the Green Bay Packers, has had a bit of a roller coaster career. He's battled injuries, including a pretty serious Achilles tear in 2023, which kept him out for quite some time. That injury, combined with his inconsistent play when healthy, made it difficult for him to carve out a stable role, especially in a team like the Packers, where he was often fighting for playing time with other talented defensive backs like Jair Alexander. And after being released by Green Bay, King spent some time on the Packers' practice squad before catching on with the Falcons. But it was never a serious bid for a starting role, more of a depth signing, which is common in the NFL. The Falcons, in their rebuild, are clearly looking to develop their young talent and see what they have in their existing roster, rather than keep around a veteran who might not be part of their long-term plans. Now, why is this relevant to us? Well, the NFL is a league where depth and versatility can make all the difference, especially in the secondary. And Kevin King, despite not being a star, can still be a valuable piece as a backup or rotational player. For a team like the Washington Commanders, which is still trying to solidify its defensive core, adding a player like King could be beneficial. Not necessarily as a starter, but as someone who can step in when needed, mentor younger players, and provide stability when injuries inevitably strike. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let us continue with the big reveal. Now, moving beyond Atlanta, let's look at some of the other teams that could be eyeing Kevin King as a potential addition. The Baltimore Ravens, for example, are always looking to bolster their secondary. After investing heavily in Chidobe Awuzie and Jair Alexander this offseason, they're aiming to have one of the most formidable defensive back units in the league. But as we all know, injuries happen, and depth is king. If Awuzie doesn't meet expectations or gets injured again, teams like the Ravens might find value in a veteran like King to add some insurance behind their starters. The Ravens' defensive backfield, with a mix of young talent like Nate Wiggins and seasoned veterans like Marlon Humphrey, is shaping up to be a real strength. Still, the NFL's unpredictability means they could use an extra piece in the puzzle, and Kevin King's experience could be just that. Similarly, the Los Angeles Chargers are also in the mix when it comes to secondary upgrades. Despite losing Christian Fulton to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chargers have been actively improving their pass defense, signing players like Dante Jackson and Benjamin St-Juste. Their focus has been on building a versatile and experienced secondary that can handle the league's top passing attacks. Kevin King, while not a star, offers a veteran presence that can learn from and potentially mentor younger players like Cam Hart, a 2024 NFL draft pick. The Chargers are a team that values old-school, physical defense, and adding depth at cornerback is a logical step to maintain consistency and avoid injuries derailing their season. Now, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. You know how much Jerry Jones loves taking chances on players who are affordable and have some NFL experience, even if they're not household names. Robert Rochell, another player the Cowboys signed recently, fits that mold. But with Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland both under pressure to perform, the Cowboys' cornerback room is somewhat unsettled. They traded for Kyer Elam, which shows they're willing to make bold moves, but they also need reliable depth. Kevin King, with his experience and familiarity with NFL offenses, could be a solid safety net for Dallas. He might not be a starter right away, but he could help mentor young players and step in during injuries or if a starter struggles. That's the kind of role that fits him right now, someone who can contribute without the pressure of being the primary corner. So here's where it gets interesting for us, the Washington Commanders. As you all know, our team has been making some strategic moves to upgrade the pass rush, especially after signing Von Miller, who is a game changer on the edge. But as we've seen in recent seasons, a strong pass rush can only do so much if the secondary isn't up to par. We've invested in Jonathan Jones, bringing him back for another season, and we're counting on Marshon Lattimore to be a lockdown corner. But depth remains an issue. If we're serious about contending, especially in a division as competitive as the NFC East, we need to ensure our secondary is as reliable as possible. And that's where Kevin King could come into play. Not as a superstar, not as the primary shutdown corner, but as a rotational player who can step in when needed, provide veteran leadership, and help develop our younger players like Cam Hart. It's about adding layers to our defense, making sure that when injuries or bad days happen, we're not left vulnerable. King's experience, having played in the league since 2017 and having faced some of the league's best receivers, could be a valuable asset. Sure, he's not going to turn our defense into a top-5 unit overnight, but every piece counts, especially in the NFL's highly competitive environment. Looking at the bigger picture, this kind of move, bringing in a veteran like Kevin King, reflects the smarter, more calculated approach that our coaching staff and front office seem to be embracing. It's about building depth, stability, and experience without overpaying or risking long-term commitments on players who don't fit the new direction. It's a strategic approach that could pay off when the season kicks off. Imagine a secondary where Marshon Lattimore is the star, Jonathan Jones provides reliable coverage, and Kevin King can serve as that versatile backup, ready to step in and stabilize the unit. That's a recipe for a more resilient defense, and one that can hold up against the NFC East's top offenses like the Eagles' aerial attack or the Cowboys' dynamic passing game. And of course, it's not just about the immediate season. Building a solid, reliable secondary is also about setting a foundation for future success. Younger players like Cam Hart can learn from veterans like King, absorbing the nuances of NFL-level coverage, understanding how to read quarterbacks, and developing their physical skills. This mentorship aspect is often overlooked but can be a game changer, especially for a team like ours that's still developing its identity on defense. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, is Kevin King really the guy that's going to push us over the edge? Probably not on his own. But in the NFL, it's about the collective effort, the depth, and the ability to adapt when injuries or other setbacks happen. A veteran like King can be that steadying influence, a reliable player who's been around the block and understands what it takes to succeed at this level. And let's not forget, the NFL is a league where even the smallest details can make a difference. Having that extra veteran presence in the secondary can sometimes be the difference between a crucial third down stop or a big play allowed. So, as we look ahead to training camp, the preseason, and ultimately the regular season, keep an eye on how the Commanders' secondary shapes up. Will Kevin King find a role? Can he bring that veteran experience to our young, talented group? These are questions that will be answered on the field, but But one thing is clear, the NFL's landscape is constantly shifting, and the Commanders are doing their part to stay ahead of the curve, making smart moves to strengthen our team from the inside out. As always, I love sharing these insights with you, and I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Kevin King is a good addition to our secondary? Could he be the missing piece that helps us reach new heights? Drop your opinions in the comments below. Your voice matters so much to us and to the future of the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more insights into what's happening with our beloved team. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting the Commanders every step of the way. Remember, the NFL is a game of inches and every move counts. Whether it's a rookie stepping up, a veteran providing leadership, or a strategic trade like this one, it all adds up to the story of our season. And I, for one, am excited to see how it unfolds. Thanks for being part of this journey with me, and until next time, stay proud, stay loud, and go Commanders.